Hello, guys, and welcome back to Luminous's Intuitive Talks, where we receive divine messages, advice, warnings, things we want to hear, and things we rather not. So let's go ahead and get into today's video. Okay, so today's channeled message from the divine was to continue to talk about healing from trauma. And I'm not going to read from my book today in this video, but I do want to have a little discussion. Okay, so, I sat down, I did some thinking, as well as, I listened and I watched a few videos, and I really feel like today's energy, more so, I'll say the whole week's energy, was basically, to do some self-reflecting and to realize, what may be the problem or issue within us. Instead of us always being like so quick to, say what's wrong with somebody else or say what somebody else has done, sometimes we fail to look at ourselves and we fail to see what we have done or what part did we play for, the outcome to turn out the way it did. Sometimes we have to just really, observe ourselves and our own actions. We have to really have a secluded, moment to yourself and, ask yourself these questions, what did I do to cause this problem? Or what part did I play? What things did I say? What did I do, to also play like a negative part in something? So for instance, when it comes to relationships, think about how, if a relationship started out good and then all of a sudden it flips and changes and then it just goes bad. A lot of us can, say who the main culprit was for, the tower moment to happen, but we also still have to look at what part we played, because it takes two. When it comes to a relationship, it takes two people. It takes two to communicate. It takes two to actually work together or fix something. It takes two to destroy something. So that's what we always have to look at, Even when it comes to simple things, something as simple as a argument between you and maybe a friend or something. And after, you guys fall out and you guys stop talking and stuff, but each of you have different perspectives of why you guys fell out. Someone may be feeling like maybe that friend was being disrespectful and didn't, respect your feelings or whatever. And maybe the other person felt the same way. But who is the culprit in that situation? But you guys have to sit down and really think about how that event went down and happened. So, a lot of us could be feeling like, you know, dang, maybe it wasn't all this person. Maybe I did have a little, parts in this. Maybe I did, you know, kind of treat this person, wrong in a sense. Maybe you were verbally abusive to someone, but you saw it as you defending yourself and, retaliating to something that they did. But still, at the end of the day, if you said things that were hurtful, if you said things that would cause a negative effect, that still makes you a culprit to the situation, because instead of making the situation better, you guys made it worse together. So sometimes we have to sit down and think about things, think about ways we can heal ourselves of the way we react and the way we respond to things. Sometimes we need to sit down and be like, you know what? Maybe I need to fix A, B, and C about myself, before I be so quick to jump on the next person about what they should have done or what, sometimes we have to do those things. Or, if you have to go back and apologize to somebody about something because maybe your perspective of what happened, you probably thought they were the one in the wrong, but in all reality, you could have been the one in the wrong, but it depends on the situation, it depends on what happened, it depends on who said what, who did what. Either way, you both were involved. So that's what we have to do sometimes. We have to see, what are we doing to cause this negative, domino effect, or this continuous cycle of negativity. We also have to look at that. Like, if you see yourself in a constant cycle of repeating events and wondering why they keep happening the way they keep happening, that's another area where you must really observe. And, we have to sit back and go, okay, why isn't things changed? Like, why aren't things changing? Okay, what am I doing different? Or am I doing anything different at all? Like, say if you keep manifesting toxic relationships, most of the time we continuously manifest who we are in reality. Sometimes we may think, you're not as toxic as whoever you were with, but in all reality, you've had to been in order to have been with that person, or something in the relationship was toxic to where you both were bound to it. See what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to look at things that way. It's not always the people. Sometimes it could be, just the situation, like what's bounding these people to this toxic cycle. And then sometimes we have to go back and say, you know what, let's go back to the drawing board and let me do something different this time. And when you start to do things different, things around you start to change. Situations, people, as you change and evolve, so will the people and, the habits we possess. as we begin to grow and continue to heal, we start to change the outcome of things. We start to turn the wheel backwards. Okay? We start to make different changes and choices. So basically, if you have like high standards, you know, you want to make sure you have something that can match your standards or whatever, match your level of what you're actually on. Even though you could be trying to be on a high level, sometimes you could still be stuck at a little lower level and you still need to do a little work. See, it doesn't matter what stage in life we are in or how much we have progressed or grown. No, we're still going to require work within self. It's a never ending cycle because, as you guys know, nobody is perfect. But we learn how to fix ourselves by healing. Okay, we got to heal from trauma, ways of being, because sometimes, the trauma that happens to us, makes us who we are today. Like, say, for example, if somebody's like really defensive against people or whatever, or, I can find myself doing that sometimes, coming off a little bit more aggressive than you should, in a sense, sometimes it's a defense mechanism because you're so used to, people running over you, using you, and, all kinds of things and events that, a person could have went through. So now they've put this wall up, and now they're like defensive against everybody they meet or most of the people they meet, or they just have this type of demeanor to them to where it kind of intimidates people, so sometimes we gotta step back and be like, whoa, am I being a little bit too aggressive? I can't bring what happened to me with past people with me into, the new cycle I'm trying to create, because you can't bring old baggage into a new cycle, especially if you want that cycle to be non-toxic. You can't bring toxic things into, a better cycle. So we have to just learn how to heal from those things. It's like we can't see everybody as the same thing. Just because one person did us a certain way doesn't mean the next person is going to do us the same way. We can't automatically just prejudge people like, you look like my ex, I'm not dealing with you. You don't know that person like that. Get to know each other. Sometimes we have to put ourselves out there to really see what's going on. We have to really interact and actually get to know people before, just jumping into relationships. And that's how a lot of us get lost and messed up, because people don't get to know each other before they get into the relationship. So now things that could have been avoided, all the red flags that should have been seen have been overlooked, and now you guys are wondering oh my God, this person's this person's that, and I didn't know they were going to, but all along they probably been, we're already predestined to be some kind of lesson in your life to show you how different people, are. Different people deal with different things. Everybody is not the same. So everybody's trauma will be a little different. And sometimes we can put trauma onto each other. Okay? Sometimes couples get together because of trauma bonding. Yeah. People will get together and trauma bond because they've both been hurt in their past and stuff, and they think they're healing each other, but in reality, trauma bonding is not healthy at all, because you guys are not coming from a healthy point of view. You guys are only bonding because of trauma. And, it's okay to have somebody that understands and know exactly what you're going through. But at the same time, that can create a codependent relationship. You guys start depending on each other to, fix everything. Like, you can't rely on somebody else to fix you. You have to fix you. We can't rely on somebody else to make us happy. We can't rely on somebody else to make everything okay. We have to learn how to make everything okay by ourselves. We have to gain that strength. We have to just come together and just talk about these things, because nobody really wants to talk about or discuss things that have happened to them in their past. Abandonment issues, abuse, things like, just poverty. There's everything. There's a lot of things people have been traumatized from and still have not healed from. So we carry these things on into our adult lives, and we keep going and we keep going on with it, thinking that everything's okay with it, but it's not. It's like, no, we need to observe that, we need to fix that, and we need to heal it. So, you guys, for my next video, I will continue to discuss healing from trauma caused by people, events, and illnesses from my book, chapter 4. And if you guys don't already know, my book is What's This Mess? More like What's the Message? By Andrea Simmons, and you guys can find that on Amazon. So I will have it in a link for you guys, if you guys are interested in that. Also, I will give you guys some more, channeled messages. It's just, the energy's been kind of crazy for the past few days. I've been busy. So I definitely have been wanting to get back on here and deliver these messages, so I really thought that it was very important to say what I had to say today, because I feel like a lot of us kind of still overlook some self-reflection, even though we may think we're like, we've got it, we don't always have it. So, and that's what is really like a part of, the spiritual growth journey. It's about learning, and it's about maturing mentally and maturing spiritually. Maturity is not always about the physical age of somebody. Maturity is about how much we have matured in the mind. And I talked about that in my book, because I was definitely inspired by a motivational speaker. I think he was also a teacher as well. If I could look him up, I will mention him because I was definitely inspired by, his theory of maturity. And I definitely, discussed and talked about it as well in my book because I absolutely agree with that. You know, maturity really has nothing to do with the person's physical age. It has a lot to do with how we grow ourselves mentally in our minds, how we grow ourselves spiritually, how we become stronger, how we learn from our lessons and how we learn how to heal. So I will definitely continue to work on this and talk about this with you guys because, it's important. And these are things a lot of people don't want to talk about. But you know what? We got to get out of our comfort zone sometimes and just talk about the real. And if you don't want to talk about the real, we're not going to force you guys to be here. So, but whenever you're comfortable, you'd always be invited. So, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the video, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can share the video as well, So, thank you again for tuning in to Luminous's Intuitive Talks. All right, I'm out of here.